Hello, Captains. Your host, the Doctor here, and we've got some Star Trek news to talk about. I actually was not familiar with this piece of news, but those in the comment section have informed me that this exists. So thank you for all the feedback in the comments. I do read all of your comments, even if I don't answer or respond to each one. So thank you for letting me know that this news piece existed and that this is going on or has happened already, apparently, in Star Trek Online. This is right here, the Foundry Sunset, April 11th, 2019. This was posted on March 4th of 2019. Basically, the Foundry is shutting down in Star Trek Online and their other game, Neverwinter. If I'm correct on that, I believe I am. But we're going to read about that here. Now, before I read about this, I need to say I never really have used the Foundry. I remember when it was first introduced into the game. So I remember the game existing before the Foundry. There used to be no Foundry. The game did not start or come with this Foundry. That was not part of the game. This was a later invention that came into the game. So already, just understand that it's people that are back in the day who played this game, weren't really expecting that, or that wasn't really a big part of the game. It came later in the game. But then it did come to the game, and people were using it to both create content and play user-created content. I get that it has been very popular, but I have also seen over the years that Cryptic has lagged quite a bit in keeping it updated. It seems that when they would release a new season update that changed or created a whole bunch of new things in the game, the Foundry would always have to be shut down, and then we would have to wait for them to update the Foundry with the new assets and be in line with the game. It looked like to me from the outside that it was very hard for Cryptic to keep updating the Foundry. They seem to be putting a lot of resources into it, from my perspective anyway, and they never really could keep pace with the game updates. And now I don't know how big the Cryptic team is. I have no idea how many people are on their team, and I have no idea how many people are working on Star Trek Online. But it just may be possible that they just simply don't have the resources to maintain it, which is very possible. And you got to understand, it's a free-to-play game, so they really have to decide where they put their resources, and they just may not have the resources for that, especially if it's not making them money. If it's something that's not generating money for them, like I don't know what else, something in the game like the C-Store or something like that, that ultimately, they get money from, or making new ships. Everyone loves to get new ships and buy new ships and stuff like that. If they're not making money from it, then I can see where it could be a resource strain. So let me just emphasize again, I have played here and there a couple of Foundry missions. I never really got into it. I can't say that I never really was into the Foundry or never really used it a lot myself. There was one time I tried to create my own Foundry mission. I was really interested in, and this was back, I think, when Hearts and Minds was very first introduced into the game. I had this idea: what if we made a spooky level? I would love to see a really, really, really ghostly, Halloween-y, spooky level. And I kind of wanted to make something like that, and so I dabbled. I just dabbled lightly into the Foundry. But it never really stuck on me, and I never really got into it. So I don't have an attachment to the Foundry that a lot of people may have in the game. So I just got to put that out there. That's me personally. It says, greetings, Cryptic fans. On April 11th, we are sad to announce that we will be sunsetting the Foundry system for Neverwinter and Star Trek Online. This decision was not made lightly. The Foundry was a passion project for many of us, and we have loved seeing the unique stories and awesome content our Foundry authors have produced. Developers and players alike have enjoyed using the Foundry, and the friends we've made and the journeys we've had will live on in our memories. Our team at Cryptic strives to create excellent content and maintain a high standard of quality for our games. However, the legacy knowledge required to maintain the Foundry at our quality standards is no longer available. Now, I think that sentence right there is very loaded. There's a lot in that sentence. It says, however, the legacy knowledge required to maintain the Foundry. So it sounds to me like they've hired a bunch of new people, and the people that used to know a whole lot about the Foundry, or the legacy knowledge required to use it, that those people are no longer there. Maybe they left. Maybe there's been a shift. Maybe people have moved on to different projects or been assigned different projects. New people have come in and now trying to learn it all, however the system works, is just they can't maintain that at the quality or standards that they want to. So it says, our goal is to continue creating top-notch content for our current and upcoming games, and the development time and resources required to maintain the Foundry would impede on these new features and systems. Another loaded sentence there, just telling us pretty much right out that they just don't have the resources and time for it. Simple as that. To reiterate, this decision does not impact any other game features or content development for Star Trek Online, Neverwinter, Champions Online, or future titles. We understand this decision impacts our incredibly passionate and creative players. We wanted to thank you all for the incredible amount of work you have shared with us and the entire community through the characters, worlds, and stories you've created. We don't want to leave the contributions of both Foundry and authors and enthusiasts unrecognized, so we will be providing the following rewards to our amazing Foundry community. Players who contributed or participated in the Foundry prior to today's date, March 4th, will receive the following. You will get a Foundry badge for your character. Players who have authored a Foundry mission will receive a Botany Bay non-combat space pet. Players who have been selected for a Spotlight mission will receive a Foundry Spotlight and a Genesis Torpedo ground device. This is interesting. Huh. And it leaves a Spock behind. Okay, that's kind of cool, but I guess you can do that in social zones and show people that you had a spotlight or whatever. Alright, and then Neverwinter gets a reward too. The Foundry and the community it bloomed has been a unique and special aspect of our games that will leave lasting memories for our development teams and players. Please join us today, March 4th, for a live stream. Obviously, we missed that. Thanks again to all of you who shared a story and everyone who took time to experience them. So there you go. Foundry shutting down as of April 11th. Like I said, I am not attached to it, so it really doesn't affect me, but I understand that this could affect a lot of other people, especially the time that you put into creating these Foundry missions. I hope that you are actually, honestly, I don't think that's enough recognition. I think any of those that have created Foundry missions, and especially if you were spotlighted or whatever, should be listed on their webpage, no less than that. Maybe there needs to be some kind of more recognition that existed and what they did for the game. Because the way I feel about it is that the Foundry, initially, this is just my opinion, but it was a way for Cryptic to answer the question of where's the content. Because a long time ago, there were problems with where's the content. Even when the game was, you had to pay for the game. The question was, where's the content? Why isn't there enough? The Klingon arc was never finished at first. Where there's these long time periods where there's no content. There's always been that question. And then the way I looked at it was the Foundry came out and was like, oh, well, here's a way for there to be new content. Let the players of the game create their own content and play each other's content. Well, then we don't have to do as much. That's kind of the way I looked at it. I don't know if that's what they were thinking, but that's the way I kind of looked at it. Like, oh, well, here's your missing content. You guys go create it and play it. And okay, I guess maybe that worked for some, but not necessarily for me. I wanted, original Cryptic content and was waiting for that, their updates. But like I said at the beginning, every time there was a season update to the game or something else, the Foundry always came down, and it took them a long time to get it updated with the new stuff. And I guess they just got tired of that. I mean, I don't know any other way to look at it. They don't have the resources to maintain it. And by pulling it down, that's just one less thing they have to worry about when they update the game. Maybe it'll allow them to update the game more. Maybe we'll get more frequent updates now that they don't have to worry about also updating the Foundry every single time. You know, maybe we'll get some more content actually out of this from them. Who knows? And by content, I mean playable missions. I should just say that. Playable missions. That's what I mean by content. So who knows what else could come, you know? Maybe this will actually allow them to do more by removing the Foundry. So it could lead to positive things, but I can see how users of the Foundry and those that made missions might feel like, you know, something big is being taken away from them in the game, and it might make them choose to leave the game. If that was a big part of their gaming here and stuff and fun they had in the game, then I can see a lot of people leaving over this. I hope not, but you never know. People will do what they're going to do, right? So I'm kind of neutral on this. I'm not hating it. I'm not loving it. I'm just neutral on this because it just doesn't affect me personally. But I can understand how it might affect other people personally. So thank you for letting me know that this existed, that this is out there, that this is happening. I need to go back into the news and check out other news that I might have missed over the past few weeks. And if I find interesting stuff, I'll make some more videos about it. But drop a comment below and let me know what you think of the Foundry shutting down. Does it affect you? Will it affect you? What do you think of that? Again, thank you for leaving the comments in the comment section, letting me know about this. To those that did that, I did read your posts, and that is why I'm doing this now. So thank you for asking those questions. If I have not responded to your comment directly, I have read it at least. So thank you for all that, and continue to leave those things in the comments, and I will check up on them just like I have done here. So there you go. Foundry Sunset, April 11th is happening. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.